Studio 33 AD, Catholic Media.
Don't overdo your faith and Jesus Christ anymore. You go to this church, you pray, and what it gives you. Give up now and finally take care of something that you have influence on. Take care of your life. Why do you go there and hear the same story about God over and over again? How many such and similar words have I heard in my life? These words led me to think and seek answers to the questions I began to ask myself. Who am I supposed to listen to in my life? The world? Politicians? Myself? Who should I follow in my life? What values should I follow? What or to whom should I be faithful? Today we hear such a very radical answer from Jesus. If you want to follow me, take up the cross. It seems so obvious, because we know what path our Lord experienced. We see the cross. But despite this, we can follow Jesus in the great crowd who follow him and avoid the cross. We can follow Jesus in this great crowd of people wanting something from him, crying out for him, Jesus, help us, and not take the cross with us, running away from it. We can follow Jesus among all this crowd who is here, and at the same time say, no, I don't want to suffer like you suffered. I don't want to experience what you experienced. I don't want to live like this. I prefer to live here peacefully, fulfill my plans, live my own way. So why should I choose what is difficult, what humiliates me, what is unpopular in this world, what the world ridicules, when I can choose what is pleasant, comfortable, what is fashionable and popular? Why should I accept suffering and loss in my life? What's the point in doing this? Read the story of Job. There, despite his suffering, despite the loss of loved ones, despite of illness and humiliation, the question, what is the meaning of human suffering, is not answered. But you can see the thought of God there. I created this world, not you, man. And we want to understand it, but we cannot understand it. But if you are facing something that is beyond you and you don't understand, there are two possibilities. Either you will rebel because it is too much for you and you don't understand it, and you will answer, why do I need this effort? Or you will trust because you don't understand. And you have to trust. And this is the thought that God gives Job and Jesus gives us. Will you trust me? Will you follow me? Understand this finally, that this is the path you choose in the church, calling yourself a disciple of Jesus. When I began to get to know Jesus in my life, I began to discover that in following Him, I have to accept some losses, sacrifices, in order to notice something bigger in my life, to understand something in my life, to appreciate, really appreciate something in my life. Leave your thinking, leave your plans, attachments, and follow Jesus. There are still such things. There are still people to whom I and you are attached, to whom I and you find it difficult to say no, and which prevent me and you from choosing Christ freely. It's so easy to talk about this, of course. It's so easy. But we know that it requires us to make these choices every day. This attitude of renunciation, when we read in the Gospel, hate your father, hate your mother, misein in Greek. This word doesn't mean something negative, but rather means to love someone or something more and only base your life on it. So the words of this gospel may be, if you love all that you have more than me, don't say that you are my disciple. If you love in your life all that you have more than me, don't say that you are my disciple. So what Jesus says doesn't mean rejecting everything and everyone. Don't think that you have to suddenly reject your wife or your husband or stopping loving your children. Jesus, speaking of renouncing everything, he says, it is your decision if you will be with God or choose other values. Am I sure I would organize this world better than him? Some people tried. We know the history. Wars, concentration camps, victims of ideology, manipulation. We see what is happening in this world right now. We still think that we will arrange better the world our way, our own way. None of the people are fit to replace the place of God. He is the first. So see, if you can cut yourself off from various attachments, if you are free in this, if you are free from fears, able to say no, this can wait. Now it's time for God. It is worth considering, what is my relationship with Jesus, with God? Is it real, alive? Or maybe only apparent, external? How do I try to be faithful to Him every day? A disciple of Jesus discovers that only with Him can be fully husband, wife. Without Him, something else will quickly become more important, such our desires, our whims. Only together in union with Christ can you be a loving father and mother, an obedient son and daughter, a caring sister and brother. Only together in unity with Jesus Christ can you be a true disciple and priest. Because even the most loved person will not give you this kind of love that God gives you. And if you think someone will give you that kind of love, it's worth thinking about how you define that love. Be able to lose a very close person, a brother, mother, father. Be able to become a widow, to face the loss of a child who died, to be able to lose this ability to be a father or mother. Everyone is aware that these are very serious and difficult issues. Being able to lose and live on. Because my life was not based on them, but on God. This is the radicalism of this gospel. Christ love you. Christ's love makes us happy. But this doesn't mean that I should be happy when a loved one dies. But this love, Christ's love, will help me to live in freedom in this loss. And this is what we call carrying the cross. Maybe someday we will discover that this cross is not just a burden, but it's also a support, a staff that we can lean on and walk together with Him. Jesus wants disciples who will not be disguises, who will not play roles, but the disciples who will be real and authentic in what they choose to follow Him every day. For it is He who chooses us, not with Him.
Studio 33 AD, Catholic Media.